special operations. And then we've plus that up by 2 more dogs. We look at that as a force multiplier. Like, you know, 1 dog on the ground with a handler is the equivalent of 4 police officers out in the field. So we saw that. We've kind of postured ourselves that way, and that's what we're looking at. And we're going to continue to grow our K9 unit.
Cruz also appealed to Rotarians to partner with the Guam Police Department to put more CCTV cameras in the parks, not just in Tumon. Cruz says they're currently working with the Guam Fire Department, whose 911 dispatch would be responsible for monitoring the cameras.
What you see in Tumon is something that was donated by a certain entity in the private sector, and they continue with the donations. So now that we see that it's very effective in Tumon, because I would tell you it's a great deterrent, but we've also solved some crimes because of that. We're pushing that out. We're starting with the parks, and then we're continuing to move this program along.
Members of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and the Guam Police Department Special Operations, or SWAT, rained down thousands of rounds of ammo as part of a joint training exercise. Isabaza has more.
Hostage situations, active shooter, although it hasn't happened here on island, acts of terrorism.
These are the situations Guam Police Department Special Operations Division Chief Donald Flickinger trains for.
Shooting skills are very fundamental, and they're very perishable. So if you don't use them that often, they kind of fade away. So the more often we get to train, the better our skills become, and it makes us better operators.
As you can see behind me, members of the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit and the Guam Police Department SWAT are training with M16A4 rifles here at the Marine base as part of a bilateral training. One of these Marines was Staff Sergeant Andrew Peash, who said the training benefits both SWAT and members of the 31st MU, including roughly 40 members of the Maritime Raid Force that participated.
Just to get together and share some different techniques, tactics, and procedures that they use for close quarters tactics, and then also just to form some friendships for future operations.
We're learning, going back to basics on pistol skills, target acquisition, basic fundamentals, and then with the rifle, we're learning distance, and the same thing, going back to fundamentals, basics, just trying to tighten up everything for us, so it helps to improve us.
The one-day training ended Tuesday. Reporting for Guam's News Network, I'm Issa Plaza.
A public hearing is set for Monday evening over legislation to reduce salaries for the governor, lieutenant governor, and senators. Senator Frank Guggen Jr.'s Bill 4 would exclude these elected officials from the Competitive Wage Act and reduce the governor's salary to $90,000, the lieutenant governor to $85,000, and senators to $55,303. Several attempts were made in the last 2 years to reduce salaries for the elected officials. The public hearing is set for Monday at 5:30 p.m. at the Guam Legislature. Then on Wednesday, another public hearing is set for the governor's proposal to legalize recreational marijuana. Bill 8, otherwise known as the Cannabis Control Act, would regulate the use, production, and sale and taxation of cannabis. The bill comes more than 2 years after medicinal marijuana was approved by voters, and just a few months after the rules and regulations were enacted into law. Bill 8 would set the legal age of consumption at 21, include a home cultivation provision, and impose a 15% sin tax on the purchase of cannabis and create a cannabis control board. The hearing is set for Wednesday, February 15 at 5:30 p.m. It's been an ongoing issue for years, and now the Guam Economic Development Authority is another step closer to addressing the flooding situation in Tumon. Gita Real Property Division Manager Larry Tobis says they are proceeding with Phase 2 of the Tumon Flood Mitigation Project, which involves maintenance at the existing ponding facility down at Fujita Pond and construction of additional inlets along San Torres Road and trench drains across some major intersections.
So we're in phase two. We have a contractor on board. We had our first kickoff meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we're now in the permitting process, and we're hoping to get that done by early February so that we can actually mobilize our contractor by mid-February. So if everything goes as scheduled, barring any issues with the project itself. We hope to get that done by July of 2017.
Meanwhile, Phase 3 would determine how to dispose of the stormwater that builds during rainy seasons. The third phase would also involve possibly acquiring more land to expand the existing ponding basin, which is the preferred alternative for the project. Public Health's Central Public Health Lab passes with flying colors following an inspection by the feds in January. A representative from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services found 0 deficiencies, ensuring that the results reported by the laboratory are quality assured, reliable, and accurate. This means the lab received its recertification of compliance with federal law. All clinical labs must be properly certified to receive Medicare or Medicaid payments. An island boy has taken his love of Pacific culture and set it to music, combining his lyrics and thoughts over infectious rhythms. And the talents of young Dakota Camacho are on display in a new album he's released that shares his passion for connecting with the past in a modern way.
I am not a priest and definitely not here to preach. Just trying to craft the medicine to set my people free from the pain and the paniti. I converse with the Aniti. Learn to trust myself and the signs from Ikwanifi. It is not always easy, often confronting and painful. When something tests my faith, then I just get more faithful and grateful for the signer. Because I know that they'll always have our back.
Dakota Camacho is a man who literally is defined by his words. As a poet, lyricist, and cultural dancer, he's rested his head in the Pacific Northwest, in the mainland, as well as on Guam, and now makes his home in New Zealand. This amalgamation of his life experience and exposure to Native ideals, he says, has shaped his worldview and taught him strong lessons about his own heritage, and in very positive ways. He means what he says, and he speaks what he believes to be truth by preserving a strong connection to his predecessors.
I'm inspired to write from my ancestors, and I've always been inspired to write from a really young age because of them, because of their stories, and also from what they shared with me. And really, all of the work that I do in the world is to create a sense of inafa maulik and a sense of balance and harmony with the natural world and with the environment.
He describes his lyrical style as pure underground hip-hop and says it's hard to liken him to other artists. And that's the beauty of his art form. He's vested in the belief that every voice is unique and that everyone has something genuine and purely his own to say.
For me, the album is actually a prayer in itself to bring us in, to inafa maulik, to be able to vibrate that essence, which I believe is our vital essence as human beings, but also to connect to our own sense of ancestry and the stories that they'll tell.
And as part of his commitment to sharing his message, he's released a new album, Nalatla, complete with his verse. You can access Dakota's tracks online.
The best place to get the album is actually on Bandcamp, and you can find it via my website, which is infinitedakota.com. And you can also go to infinitedakota.bandcamp.com, but it's really easy to find it on my website.
Stay tuned. Next on a Weekend Edition, we'll rehash some of the big stories of the past week, and still to come, the Guam Crime Stoppers report.
There are more ways to experience KUAM News than any other source on Guam. Download the KUAM News app for your Apple or Android device for 24/7 news, sports, videos, weather, streaming with KUAM radio, and important news alerts. And stay connected at home with Guam's first app for Apple TV. All available now from the App Store.
When we face an uncertain path, when we struggle with life's challenges, and when the unexpected happens,
it's a beautiful day.
We rely on the people we trust,
It's a beautiful,
who we can always count on,
beautiful day.
and the ones who give us the most care throughout the years. Rely on Calvo's Select Care to give you the comfort and security you need
It's a beautiful day.
wherever you are. Calvo's Select Care, healthcare that's always there for you.
Hi, I'm interested in one of your new Samsung devices.
I've got just the one for you. our online store, upgraded our website, and increased our call center to better serve customers.
What do you think? Solid.
If you get nervous about having dental treatment, you're not alone. An estimated 35 million adults experience anxiety or nervousness at the simple thought of visiting the dentist. As your dentist, I strive to make your visit as painless or pain-free as possible. And I frequently tell my patients that in the 21st century, if we can give you medicines to put your tooth to sleep or medicines to take an infection or toothache away, we can surely give you something to help relax you and take all fear away. No one ought to sit in a dental chair thinking of bad childhood memories or fearing injections. If you're a dental coward, but you really do want your teeth fixed, don't wait until the pain is killing you. Come in, tell us your fears, and set up an appointment. We have convinced many that dental treatment doesn't need to be scary anymore. For your helpful dental minute, I'm Dr. Kenny Bourgeois of Paradise Smiles. You shall never know all the good a simple smile can do.
Chuck E. Cheese's Guam is not all fun and games. Our pizza is delicious with the freshest toppings, oven baked to order. Try the fresh salad bar, sandwiches, and don't forget our mouth-watering wings. Come and eat at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam.
Your love is like a fireplace. Your warm, sweet embrace. I want to see your face again. Your love is like a fireplace. Your warm, sweet embrace. I want to see your face again. 'Cause I'm caught up in the current of your love. And as you walk along the beach alone to escape the wild stone, amplified by the musical tone, supplied by the John Dang Show. Supplied by the John Dang Show. Rockin' steady, I'm gonna put it on you, are you ready? Caught up in the current of your love.
Hafide, and welcome back to Weekend Edition. This is Rehash, where we, the news team, recap the big stories of the past week. And starting off with Nick, who had the biggest story of the week, I think.
Right, Chris. That's actually been the biggest story in the last 2 weeks, the second week of the murder trial of Mark Torrey Jr., the former Guam police officer that we've all been following this very high-profile case in the last couple of weeks since trial started. And this week, we have, of course, heard from his father, Lieutenant Mark Torrey Sr., who said he recalled what happened whenever he learned that a shooting had just happened outside of his home. The first thing he said he could hear from the victim, Officer Bert Piolo, was, "Lieutenant, help me. They shot me." And it wasn't clear who they may happen to be, but that, of course, is what we're hoping to learn more of in the coming weeks of the trial as it goes on. And on Monday, we're hoping to hear that 911 call that Bert made the moment he was shot.
And speaking of the police department, I also covered another officer, one of the most senior ranking officers, Colonel Mark Charfris, who was recently demoted from colonel to major. And that's a really big deal because it doesn't happen too often that there's a demotion in the department. Again, this all stems from an incident on Christmas Eve. And if you recall, it was like a very viral social media video. It was actually captured on a body camera that was worn by one of the responding officers. And so there was an investigation. There was 2 investigations actually launched into Colonel Charfris that resulted in the demotion. And he is actually, through his lawyer, we talked to his lawyer, Attorney Randy Cunliffe, who said, hey, he's going to appeal, he's going to challenge that decision, where the Civil Service Commission has about 20 days to do so. And that's when we'll actually find out all the facts, because that's when it'll be open to the public. And I can't wait to see the juicy details. Next, Ken.
Speaking about demotions, the story I did was about demoting someone to a second-class status, and specifically about where you live should not impact your right to vote. This stems back for a few years ago about a federal voting rights lawsuit that the We the People Project led by former Guam resident attorney Neil Weir. He's representing about 6 former residents of Illinois who currently live now in U.S. territories, and they're being denied the right to vote because of where they moved. And a federal court ruled last year that where you live, if you move to a U.S. territory, you don't have the right to vote, but it's also protecting those, but also allows the right to vote for people who move to foreign countries. So they filed an appeal, and what I guess the interesting angle of this is they partnered up with this crowd funding platform. It's called Crowd Justice, and they're from the United Kingdom, but they're launching in the United States, and this case is one of the first ones that they're taking on, and they hope to raise about $10,000 for this appeal and to move forward with hopefully voting for the president.
And I've been working on a couple of stories that have some kind of national relations to it. If you've been following President Trump court case involving the ban on travelers from 7 countries that are predominantly Muslim. So we got some reaction from a couple of, and the local Muslim population here is very small, but we had an opportunity to speak to a couple of representatives from the Masjid Al-Nur Mosque in Mangilao. And they, of course, were very opposed to what the president is trying to do. They believe it is unfair and discriminatory. And also related to that, there was the conference that you attended.
The annual district conference.
Yeah, the annual district conference, and one of the speakers there also brought that up. He happens to be kind of a supporter of the anti, but he believes that the stronger case is on the president's side.
And that was Jonathan, Professor Jonathan Turley. He's quite a speaker, quite a public speaker, and I was really thrilled to sit through some of his talks. And if you have any news tips for us here at the news, just email us at KUAM, that's reporters@KUAM.com, or send us a message on Facebook. It's that easy.
Ram has won countless awards, including 4-wheeler pickup truck of the year and heavy-duty pickup truck of Texas 3 years running. We have best-in-class torque and 31,210 pounds towing, along with an exceptionally smooth ride. So, what does all this award-winning engineering add up to? Ram, America's longest-lasting pickups.
Get a great deal during Ram Truck Month.
For 20 years, Matson has been an important part of our everyday lives. Bringing in the cars we drive, the food we eat, and the materials that helped build our homes. From caring for our land through the Adaki Itanu program to generously supporting our local charities, Matson has contributed to the preservation and growth of our island. On behalf of those you've served throughout your 20 years on Guam, Sidus Ma'asi Matson.
Tourism is Guam's #1 industry. It creates jobs and brings in spending. When a visitor comes to Guam, they spend their money on hotels, on transportation, on shopping, on dining out. They're happy they came to Guam. You know who else is happy? The hotel they stayed in and the bellman at the hotel. The tour bus drivers and tour guides. The stores they shopped at and the banks they used. The restaurant and the waitress, the supplier who delivered the ingredients, and the farmer who supplied the produce. From real estate to retail, tourism has a positive impact on every industry. When tourists pay taxes, it means locals pay less. Let's make sure our local economy grows so it becomes strong and healthy. Make Guam a better place to live, work, and visit. Support tourism.
This is what precision sounds like. Sound dampening technologies like triple door seals that help keep outside noise out.
Talk about getting out of a tight spot.
Introducing the midsize pickup only GMC could build.
In more ways than one.
Canyon from GMC. This is the precision of professional grade.
Get $5,000 cash back on select 2016 GMC Canyon vehicles in stock. Visit AutoSpot GMC today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We continue our ongoing discussion with Officer Paul Tapao, my good friend from the Guam Police Department. Officer Tapao, we are talking about parental involvement, and you were leading this off by last week saying, parents need to get more involved in the lives of their kids, obviously to keep them off drinking, make smart choices, eat well, be involved in their school. So I'd like to talk about that. Like, how can parents get more involved with their kids when they're at school? Because these are really busy times. People work a lot, school hours are really, really weird, but how can parents be more involved when their kids go off the campus?
It's simple, just talk to your kids, find out who they're with, where they're at, after school and everything, but primarily get in touch with the school. Now, being that I'm involved with the schools, with the School Crime Stoppers program, I talk a lot with the schools and the different activities that they have. And some of the concerns they have is getting a hold of their parents. We need to break that trend, and we need to have the parents understand that the school needs you to be involved with them too. And by you actually partaking in your child's education, you're not just helping your child stay out of trouble, you're also helping your child gain that education and gain that progression in which they need for the next level. And the school really depends on the parental involvement, not just the mom, but also the dad, because we're seeing a lot of issues that evolve where child gets in trouble and it's criminal, mom is always in attendance. And we want to ask the father, it's really, if we have dual parents there doing sessions with the principals or sessions with the officers, it helps the child understand that, what they're doing is wrong. And it's the parents' way of actually doing corrective measures on the child.
Now, you do so many of these presentations throughout the year, and you, of course, talk directly to schools. How can parents find out what's being taught there? Because obviously you can't have every parent go to the school at the same time in the middle of a day, but I'm sure there's a lot of parents who would like to avail of the knowledge you're passing down and the tips you're giving these kids. How can they find that out?
Absolutely. Ask your kids what we talked about and everything. Talk to the counselors, because it's majority of the time it's the counselors or the safety officers within the schools in which I work directly with, and I share the same curriculum with them because we're following their behavior expectation. The Department of Education's behavior expectations of the be safe, be respectful, and be responsible. I integrated that in the School Crime Stoppers curriculum, and everything in which I'm teaching them reflects on their behavior expectations. So, talk to your child, talk to your school administrators, find out what you can do to help your child progress to the next level. Regardless if your child is, actively involved with the school, or if they're in trouble with the school, it always helps to have parents there, and we need their involvement with the school and everything.
I really like how you brought up the fact about counselors, because counselors we've seen are probably the most underutilized resource by students, but a lot of people don't realize they're also a proxy for parents to interact with the school too.
Yeah, absolutely. They have, the expert training and upbringing of kids, expert trainings and expectation levels of the kids as they progress from elementary on to middle school. And you're right, the counselors are there because they should be the first line in which the child and the parents go through if they have any inquiries about the schools or they have any inquiries about the child's behavior. So it's really important that, and again, I'm stressing this, parents get involved with the school, get involved with the administrator, go through the process, orientation, first and second quarter progress reports, go to conference days and everything, and go to activities, be involved, ask your child about what activities are coming up. And of course, know when your child is home, because when kids are accounted for, that's when we can say they're okay. But when kids are unaccounted for, we have cases where kids have been suspended and the parents don't even know that they're suspended, and they're under the impression that they're still going to school. And it's really important because now it becomes a safety issue, and we don't want the schools to carry that burden, and that it should be the parents to do the corrective measuring, corrective discipline on the child. So, again, please, and I ask the parents out there, emphasize that stress and that need to be involved in their school.
All right, very well. What do you got for crime of the week?
This week is a robbery that happened at the Old Dedado Flea Market.
All right, here's the information.
On Wednesday, the 24th of January, at around 4 in the afternoon, officers from the Dedado Precinct Command responded to the Old Dedado Flea Market located in Quezon in reference to a robbery. Now, according to the police report, the victim, who was the owner of a small fruits and vegetables stand located in Quezon, was working within her stand when she was approached by an unknown male from behind. The unknown male then pushed the victim from behind, causing her to fall, in which the male suspect then grabbed the victim's spurs while she was down. The male suspect was then seen running towards Sandu Court in Dedado. The victim described the suspect to be a tall and skinny male no keys, with dark complexion, and had long black hair, which was tied in a ponytail. The suspect was last seen wearing a red shirt with red shorts. The victim concluded that she believes the suspect to be homeless, as she has seen him wandering around the area before asking for money and food. If anyone has any information about this case, please call the Dededo Precinct Command at 632-9808 or the Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. If you have any information about this crime or any other crime, please call Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. That's 477-4357. You can also send a text to 486-HELP. That's 486-4357. You can also submit information of a crime through our webpage at guam.crimestoppersweb.com or call the Guam Police Department at 475-8615, 6 or 7. Guam Crime Stoppers wants to remind the public that we do not use caller ID and you do not have to leave your name. You can receive a cash reward of up to $1,000 if the information provided leads to the arrest and conviction for the person or persons responsible for this crime or any other crime.
All right, thanks so much. We appreciate it as always. People should know the number. They should have it committed to memory. But if people need any help from the Guam Police Department in any capacity, how do they call?
You can easily call 911, but reach out to the nearest precinct. Each precinct has their own respective phone number. You can call them, or you can call the Guam Crime Stoppers at 477-HELP. That's 4357.
All right. GPD always ready to help and always ready to lend a hand.
Absolutely. Thanks again for having us.
Thanks so much. Stay tuned. We're back after this.
I had a dream. I walked into a dealership, picked out a new car, gave them no money, and they're letting me drive it for free the next 3 months.
And Nissan Guam, your dream has become a reality during the premier New Year event. For the new year, you can drive away a new Nissan with no money down and not make a payment for the next 3 months. It's on the house, no money down. We make your first 3 payments. Just sign and drive away. For details, stop by Nissan Upper Tumon or log on nissanguam.com.